The year is 2007. You've been waiting 12 months to see the epic conclusion to the Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy, seeing if Jack Sparrow is still alive, if Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann are still together, if Davy Jones will get a satisfying conclusion, or at least a conclusion at all. But then, this movie happens.
Gotta be fucking kidding.
Here's the first movie.
Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Peel that pig and slice him thick.
The body count is always bigger.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
And the fucking trees walked in those movies.
Hi, doggy.
What a story, Mark.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled.
It's just like your opinion, man.
Life moves pretty fast.
If you want your sequel to become a franchise.
37 dicks.
In a row?
I'm your number one fan.
Whew, bloody hell, mate. You really know how to stir up an audience, I'll tell you that much.
Oh, yes. Well, it needs the build-up that the last movie left for us to get here.
Yeah.
I think that we needed an appropriate enough entry to hype up everyone in the same way.
Yeah, we didn't want to... Yeah, I guess, like, we don't want to do another pirate kind of impression and all that. You know, we already did it for the first two movies, and, like, this is a big epic of a film.
This one needs to be taken seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the third one. It's the capstone to the trilogy. So.
Yeah. And it was like, it was one of the big... Like, 2007, that was a year for big, like... show-stopping epic movies. Like, you had this coming out, you had Spider-Man 3 that came out that year as well. There's probably other examples I can think of, but like you know,
I have a note to say about that later on.
Oh yeah,
but I think that we should first explicitly say that today we are going on a journey with the Pirates of the Caribbean crew for At World's End.
Oh yes,
Here's a bit of the trailer.
There was a time when a pirate was free to make his own way in the world. But our time is coming to an end.
Why should I sail with any of you? 4 of you have tried to kill me in the past. 1 of you succeeded.
Our enemies have united and vowed to destroy us.
You will fight, and all of you will die.
The pirate lords from the 4 corners of the earth.
Welcome to Singapore.
Must stand together. There's not been a gathering like this in our lifetime.
And I owe them all money.
That would never have worked out between us.
Keep telling yourself that, darling.
They know they face extinction. All that remains is where they make their final stand.
What a trailer, man! What a trailer!
How much does it just make it look like this is going to be amazing?
I know.
Like, the best thing that you have ever seen.
Like, absolutely insane. Like, I can only imagine, like, being in the audience watching the trailer when it premiered and seeing some of the shots in this movie, like seeing, like, the giant whirlpool maelstrom set piece in the trailer, seeing that it's like, how did we get here? What is happening here? Is this gonna be like the final battle? Oh my god, this shit's gonna be insane.
The hype would have been fucking crazy for this.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, just ridiculously insane. Like, imagine if probably the perfect age to have been when this was coming out would be like 11 years old.
Oh my goodness,
11 years old, the hype for this, and like everyone would have been talking about it. It would have been like the must-see movie of the winter.
It also was like the most, I'm pretty sure it was the most expensive movie made up until that point.
That is very, very correct.
Yeah.
It was.
Which then, I think, which was then beaten out by the 4th movie, but we'll discuss that in the next episode. But yeah, this was like the most, don't quote me on this, but this was one of the most expensive movies ever made up to that point. So it had some pretty big shoes to fill, like in terms of anticipation and, you know, like carrying on the story from the previous film, since, you know, it ended on that cliffhanger.
It had a lot going for it. It had like the build-up of like the extreme hits of the last two. I think they were quite critically and financially successful.
I remember the second one. The second one's a bit like mixed in terms of reviews, but like money wise, it like did so fucking well, and so
that merch money.
Yeah, definitely the merch. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about my Pirates of the Caribbean 2 toy to this day.
Yeah.
And so it had that going for it. It would have had the hype of the most expensive movie ever being produced at that point.
Yeah.
And then also trilogy buzz.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
The final part of a trilogy.
Like you have to see this.
Yeah.
If you've seen the last two, then it's like that you're missing out on a fundamental piece of the puzzle if you don't watch
You
this.
can't miss out on the epic conclusion that is At World's End. Just that title alone, At World's End. How cool does that subtitle sound?
It does sound pretty make or break. Like,
Yeah,
that is very
like
good.
just the title alone. You're just like, whoa, this sounds serious. We're getting real now. We're at World's End. Like doesn't that just like fill you up with this like anticipation and excitement? Like that makes you feel like a little kid again.
It's probably been a little bit overshone by the movie The World's End, the Simon Pegg one.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, fair enough. I guess.
So it's lost a little bit of the weight because of that. But I see exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But Kane,
good.
I'm dying to ask you. Here's the real question.
Yeah, go on.
What did you think?
Oh, this is a shit show, man. And I don't mean that. I don't mean a shit show as in like it's an awful movie. You said earlier it had a lot going for it. And it has a lot going for it. But man, this is just an anomaly of a film. There's so much I love about it, so much that I like. But there's just so much wrong with this film as well. This is a big step down from the first two, I will say.
I thought it was better than the other ones.
What?
No, not actually. No, I fucking hated it.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I had a terrible time watching this film. I just wanted to freak you out for 5 seconds.
I was freaked out because I was gonna be like, are you lying to me? I was thinking, are you lying to me? Because I kept looking at you. We kept talking during like the last third of this movie.
Yeah.
Like we were losing the plot, man.
Yeah, this movie I lost my mind during a little bit because I just wanted to. There were moments when I was watching and I could just imagine myself doing anything else and having such a better time doing that. I've never played The Witcher 3, but I really got a craving to play The Witcher 3. Mm-hmm. It was just, there were so many scenes that just made me go, oh, can I just go to the bathroom now and just stay there for a bit and come back and it's ended?
No, mate.
Was not having fun.
You're not a particular fan of the At World's End. I nearly called it The World's End.
So we need to also preface that this movie goes for 3 hours.
Almost 3 hours, but basically 3 hours.
And
it's
like 2 hours and 56 minutes.
Yeah, it's a very long, because like the other two were long, sure, but I think one thing that really makes this film, like you feel the length of this film, is because the pacing is fucking terrible.
Oh my god,
the pacing is awful in this.
I wish that it felt like 3 hours because it didn't. It felt like 8. It felt like 8 hours. So first session that we had of watching actually marathoning the Pirates of the Caribbean films was we watched 1 to 3.
Yeah, the original trilogy. Yeah,
and as a trilogy, I think they are not fun movies to watch back to back to back. I do not think that they work watching in a marathon. And you know why? Because they all have pretty much the same structure and the same beats a hit.
Yeah.
At this point, they're also, oh man, I'm probably going a couple steps forward with my notes, but I just have to say now,
we'll round back to it when we get to it. But you're gone.
At this point was when I was really getting sick of this whole MacGuffin bullshit.
Yes, I remember when you kept bitching about that.
So, okay, fair. It's a like, you know, big kids, like family movie epic where the MacGuffin is a pretty commonly used thing. Where like
a lot of these franchises had like huge MacGuffins. Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Percy Jackson, you know, all that kind of stuff had like a lot of magical items and all that.
I think that it's an easy way of like telling a story that just giving one item like immense extreme value, and then that's like the objective of the entire thing. Like it makes a lot of sense journey wise. I think it's a very classical way of storytelling.
Yeah,
but in this 3-hour movie, it just seemed like they would get MacGuffin after MacGuffin until I just wouldn't know what they're actually wanting anymore. Because there would be so many fucking objects that they need to get, or like they're making it seem like that they need to get, or the world's gonna end if we don't. It got exhausting. I couldn't track what was going on.
What were the MacGuffins in the film? I know the map. There was like the map that led to worlds, and that was kind of like a little bit of a MacGuffin at the very start of the movie, and then eventually they got that. So that was all well and done, dealt with. You had the chest. You had like the heart of Davy Jones. That was like a big thing. What else? Oh, the 9 pieces of 8. That stupid.
The 9 pieces of 8.
Like that.
God.
That's so. I don't know why that name always pissed me off. Even as a kid, it's just like this. Just sounds like the most we're gonna have this really stupid sounding name that's gonna sound really epic. Oh my god! And then they kind of play it off as a joke because like the 9 pieces of 8 that like all the pirate lords use to I don't fucking know, trap Calypso and all that. Actually, we're getting a bit too far. I won't talk about like Calypso and all that stuff yet. I'll just say the whole 9 pieces of 8 thing, it's fucking stupid. I hate it.
I sort of just... And with that, because I was getting lost in the story, I didn't care about the story. I just wanted it to end.
And you got lost in it, but not in the way like the film wants you to, kind of.
Which is so upsetting, because the last movie grabbed me.
Yeah.
It grabbed me into the world, and I think what it was that like I did want to know what happened next. There was a little bit of that, but I still was sour and salty about not having a satisfying last film.
Yeah.
And because of that, like, I knew that I only wanted to know what happened next because the film manipulated me to give me blue balls and then go, ooh, what do I have next to show you? And it's like, you bitch. And, you are trying to manipulate my feelings. You're trying to tear at my heartstrings without actually earning it. Just giving me something, then pulling it away last minute and being like, see, it's curious. We're really rising tension. No, you're giving me something and then taking it away from me. Oh my god.
I feel like with this movie, in terms of a conclusion, like a lot of the stuff that they give us in terms of concluding the previous film and like, Jack's fate and like the fate of all these characters in this movie, it's just a lot of it just feels kind of, I wouldn't say out of left field in terms of like some of the character fates and like story beats and all that. A lot of it just feels, I don't know, like stupid. Like, I'm not satisfied with this. How did you come to this conclusion for this character or this story beat? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The biggest, for example, I'm gonna jump in a little bit, but like I just need to get this out of the way. Jack and Davy Jones' locker. I've always had a gross feeling whenever I think about that whole sequence. It's an interesting concept. It's like different, whatever. But I just have always hated it, and like rewatching it like now, I fucking hate like the depiction of Davy Jones' locker. I don't mind the whole like multiple Jacks thing. That was kind of a cute little gag for like the 2 minutes that it was there for. Like, oh, Jack's kind of lost his mind in the locker. That's kind of cute. And then I think they like repeat that same kind of joke like 2-3 times in the later film. But apart from the whole like, showing that Jack's kind of lost his mind in the locker, the rest of it just makes no sense. It's weird for weird's sake. The stupid crabs, moving the Black Pearl away. The fact that it's like the locker's just a giant desert. Like,
I just frankly don't get it.
I don't either.
Like, I was trying really hard to get it, but
I don't think anyone gets it, honestly.
Like, I think that I understand what happened, but I don't get why it should have been done. Oh my god.
It's fucking ludicrous.
It is ridiculous. And my argument, what I think that whole like Jack Sparrow seeing multiple Jack Sparrows is for, was just because they know that he's the most like profitable, iconic character. So they're like, what are people gonna love? Let's have 10 of them.
Yeah.
How do we get okay, so people really like Jack Sparrow. What about 5 Jack Sparrows?
Jack Sparrow playing off Jack Sparrow, playing off Jack Sparrow. Oh, it's perfect.
They'll
my
like
goodness.
it 5 times as much, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, my God. That's a great idea. Yeah. More toys, please.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Kids will buy 5 of the Jack Sparrow toys to reenact their favourite scenes of the 5 Jack Sparrows.
Because, like, now that you mention it, it does seem like a very, like, just a shallow marketing tactic to, like, sell more toys, different Jack Sparrow variants and all that. And it's like, look, I still like the idea of the multiple Jacks and, showing that he's lost his mind in the locker, but it's like, it's just, I don't know, it doesn't have enough substance for me. I wish that maybe they like played into it a bit more rather than just doing it as like, because like they play into it a bit later on in the movie, but it feels more so like a joke. in later on, and it's just like, okay, we're done. Just stop. You should have just either extended the original like multiple Jack scene, or just I don't know, fucking not, or cut out at least the last two, because like it literally just feels like you're shoving more Jack Sparrows down my throat. I don't like it. Stop, please.
My probably least favorite thing about this film is that it feels like half of the movie is just tying up loose ends that were brought in the last 5 to 10 minutes of the second movie.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. So then it feels like that if they just cut out those last 10 minutes, then they didn't have to waste an hour and a half of our time in this film.
Yeah.
And it's not a movie that is like, oh yeah, we really need that more runtime.
Yeah.
No,
it doesn't feel earned, the runtime.
Honestly. Yeah, it all just felt like meandering. And, like, with half of the Davy Jones locker thing, and, like, getting Jack back, because, of course, that was going to be a big...
That was the big kind of ploy of... That was, like, the big, like, kind of, like...
The first, like, you know, getting back to the status quo. Like, every movie has to get back to their sort of status quo, and in this one, it's to get Jack back is when, you know, things are going to be going in a normal trajectory now. Jack's back.
Yeah.
And that, because it wasn't very enjoyable, then it feels like they should have just not killed him off at the end of the last one and not wasted our time with this.
Or at least just, I don't know, had a better script, or at least just have a rewrite or something, because like the shit that they go through to get Jack back is just not very interesting, to be honest.
So many hoops that just were needlessly added, it felt.
It literally feels that with the pacing of this movie, it literally, for the first 2/3, just feels like more setup. Because, like, you know, one of the biggest criticisms I think you said about Dead Man's Chest, that it kind of, in retrospect, after finishing the film, it feels a lot like setup for the third movie.
Yes.
And, like, most of this movie feels like setup for just... for nothing, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
completely. They introduce so many new things, new characters, the idea of pirate lords, sea goddesses. Like, what the fuck is going on, bro?
Okay, before we get too much into, like, particular, like, plot details,
do you
want to go, like, through our, like, you know, through the film, one piece at a time?
Sure, yeah, that'll be a lot better.
Okay, let's rewind it back to the start.
Yeah. Okay, let's start from the start. The scene of a kid getting hung by the noose, you know, that was pretty funny.
I know,
I'm not also, to the people who aren't watching, I'm not joking, the film, this Disney movie opens with a kid, they don't show the kid getting hung, but the kid does get hung.
Yes.
So that's quite the opening, I gotta say.
Yeah, the public hanging, all these people, like, is it a mass public hanging?
It's a mass hanging,
yeah. I thought so. And then they're all singing. I think it's a quite beautiful scene.
It is a really, like, tonal-wise, it's such a, like, it feels so tonally inconsistent with the rest of the film.
Very weird.
Like, look, these films did dabble in a lot of dark subject matter and brutality and all that, but this just felt like something out of a Lars von Trier movie or something, with just, like, how just dark and hopeless it felt, you know what I mean?
I loved the dark opening of number 2 because it felt gothic. The dark opening of this felt depressing.
It felt unearned, kind of.
Yeah,
like, I get they want to kind of set a more somber tone for this, but like, I don't get it, because they already did a decent job at having it kind of feel more somber in the second movie, but not lean too heavily into just this dark misery, you know what I mean?
I think that it feels like a very cheap, easy way to tell the audience, yep, the stakes are high. We're gonna kill a kid.
Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous.
If a kid can get killed, who can't get killed?
No one's safe now in this world.
The children aren't even.
Oh my god! So, like you said, it is a well done scene. Like, I think it is, like, it does give me kind of those chills. It's like, ooh, this does feel serious. Oh, the stakes are high, but it feels kind of manipulative. In a way.
Yes, yeah, completely.
It definitely feels like the director and, like, the writers are just trying to be like, they're trying to manipulate you into giving a shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, if you don't give a shit looking at a child being killed, then you obviously don't have any heart, and then they don't even want you in that cinema.
Oh, yeah.
They don't even want you there.
Oh my god.
But then we very soon after this scene move on to, we join back with our characters, Elizabeth Swann and Barbosa.
Yeah, good old Hector's back. Yeah.
Yes, and they're in Singapore.
Yes, yeah, because it's funny because, like, they talked a lot. They name dropped Singapore a lot in the first two movies. There's this, like, they just name drop it quite a bit. It's like this popular pirate area, or like this popular, like, I don't remember if it was like a trading post or like just whatever. It was like they name drop Singapore a lot, so you get to finally see Singapore in this movie. But it feels, I don't know. It just, I didn't give a shit.
Oh, I hated it. I hated it so much.
I didn't give a shit. The only thing I did give a shit about is the really awkward, out of place pseudo racism in this movie.
My god!
You when you pointed that out, I'm like, okay, no wonder this feels off to me. Oh my god, dude. Okay, they actually, like, I was gonna make a joke about it to you, and then they literally did it a second later. I was gonna joke saying that because the soundtrack was very Oriental style,
like,
and it's
gong,
and then they did and I was gonna joke saying that they were gonna do a gong noise, and then they did do a gong noise, I think, when they introduced Sao Fang, played by Chow Yun Fat, who is awful in this movie. I hate the character Sao Fang in this movie. I
completely agree.
I haven't seen Chow Yun Fat in other films, but like, so far from what I've seen him in this and Dragon Ball Evolution. Not a good actor, honestly. I'm sure he's good in, like, actual good movies, but, like, he was awful in this movie. Like, he's too over the top, and not in a fun, hammy way. It's just, he's, like, half the movie, he's screaming, he's, like, whining, he's like, oh, you took my map! Oh, you got an imposter in my area! Oh, Elizabeth Swann is Calypso, I want to kiss it! It's like, shut up, bro.
To try and analyze, like, the how this section felt racist is, I think that, so there's this concept called Orientalism. Have you heard of Orientalism?
Not particularly, no.
So it's pretty much just like this sort of way of, it's an idea around like traits and characteristics of like Oriental beings and like the personality and the culture, and usually I think that Western media has this tendency to like fetishize Orientalism and also appropriate it.
Yeah.
And this felt very very appropriating and not very respectful.
Oh no, it was actually really cringe-inducing to watch, honestly.
Because the way to see if it's like respectful or not, I think, or identify if something is being respectful to another culture, is if it's like pretty much trying to normalize it, where here it was like, look how strange Singapore is.
Look how crazy these
people
are.
Look how weird the Orientals are. Is like what it felt like, which felt disgusting.
Like, it's like, I don't like. I know for a fact someone could make the argument that it's like, oh well, like that's how like the Western civilization saw the Eastern civilizations, because it was the 1700s. Like, that's still not an excuse, though. You can still make, like, a movie in that time period and, like, not have it feel this, like you said, Oriental, like, not have it feel like it's Orientalism, not feel weirdly racist. Like, you can still capture that, like, maybe, like, that time period where the Western civilization is weirded out by the characteristics and traits and, like, customs of Eastern civilization, but you can do it without making it feel weirdly racist.
Yeah, and a big part of, like, straying away from that sort of appropriation of Orientalism is humanizing
literally
Eastern characters. No,
they don't.
Big sumo dude that like just shit like that.
Big sumo dude, crazy Fu Manchu looking ass.
Yes.
Like what the fuck?
Yeah, and it's just so unengaging. I feel all of those Singaporean scenes.
Oh, and what about when like the first big action set piece happens? There's like they just shoot like one of the one of the women in the head, like point blank in the head, and they show it.
Yeah.
They linger on that shot for several seconds, and it's like, okay, dude, you gotta stop. You just got these white people coming in and just like tearing up the place and like shooting these Asian women in the head.
They shoot a geisha in the face.
Yeah, like, oh my, and like it just felt gross in a way. It's not like how it didn't feel like how characters would die, like NPCs and all that would die in the other games and all that, these side characters and all that, it's like, oh, they died, and it's like, whatever, it's like matter of fact, cool, okay, someone died. But it's like with this, it felt kind of really cruel in a way.
Yeah, it takes the humanity out of those people. It's just
the only thing that it was the only thing that like it would have elevated it just that one step above is they started sexualizing the the ladies in the film.
Oh.
They didn't do that too much, but I feel like they would have done it.
They would, if they could pass that M rating.
I feel like they
cut
would have
out.
done it. It literally felt like, I remember I wrote this in my notes. It felt like I was watching a Rush Hour movie. Have you seen the Rush Hour movies, Rhys?
I have not.
They are okay. Like, I kind of have a guilty pleasure for those movies just because it's like so bafflingly like just out of touch and racist that it's just like you need to see it to believe. But it felt like I was watching a Rush Hour movie because those movies are so incredibly racist, very like Orientalist. You know, they're like they don't really. They just really like what's it called? Like appropriate and like trivialize the Eastern cultures and all that. Like they'll be like, look at Jackie Chan, haha, look at this funny look at the funny Asian man. He say the N-word. Oh, he do the kung fu though. Look how cool he is. look at Chris Tucker. He's so cool. He's hitting on Asian girls and look how hot they are. Ooh, oh my god, look how crazy these kung fu villains are. It's like, oh my god.
You're not really selling me on the Rush Hour franchise.
They're not good movies. I have a soft spot for them mainly because it's kind of like a so bad they're good kind of movies to me because I just watching them it blew my mind as to how like fucking racist these movies are. But yeah, no, they are something else, man. I'll tell you what, we should do a series on it one day. That would be interesting.
I feel like that would be when we really run out of other shit. We really run out of other things to talk about.
Hey, look, man, they're going to make Rush Hour 4 one day. I'll tell you what, if they can make Bad Boys 4, they'll make Rush Hour 4. Just
There's
watch.
4 Bad Boys.
They made a new Bad Boys 3. Bad Boys 3, sorry.
Yeah. I'm like 4. Oh my god.
Yeah. Forgive me. I'm thinking
3 is impressive enough.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my god.
We ain't getting a 4th one now, Willie.
So pretty early on in the movie, after we, exit Singapore for the first time, so Davy Jones comes back into the scene.
Yeah.
And he loses all gravity.
Yeah.
because like what was so good about the last movie, and why did they do this, is so in the last movie, the slow introduction of Davy Jones meant that for his limited screen time, or like screen time starting around halfway through the film, he has so much weight.
Yeah.
Everything that he does, every scene that he has, he captures with his intensity. In this, he loses all intensity because he has to be re-established, and they're not going to put that much effort into re-establishing him because he's already been introduced. So then he loses all presence, even the way that he's shot in this compared to the last one. The last one, I'm quite sure if you paid attention to the cinematography of Pirates of the Caribbean 2, then you would see that pretty much all of his shots of Davy Jones will be medium to close-ups. Like, it's very rare that you'll see him sort of small in the frame. In this, I felt like I kept on seeing him in, like, long shots with a lot of his crew, and then another powerful being in the actual shot. Like, also, he becomes like a lapdog to the British, right?
To Beckett, yeah. He's that,
What?
It's... I don't know. I've always been torn about this, about like how they depict Davy Jones in this movie, and it kind of broke my heart when you pointed out how like they kind of nuded him in this. Not because of how you felt about it, but like because when you pointed it out, it made me notice. It made it more noticeable about how like nuded he is in this movie in terms of presence and like screen presence and power that he has, that he had in the previous movie. Because, he's fucking terrifying in the second movie. He's a force of nature, a force to be reckoned with. Oh my god.
And it shows how, like, it is so important how a character is established.
Definitely.
To have this gravity, where in this one, it did try and give him, like, a bit of an epic opening, but... it knew that it couldn't linger on it too much because you can't introduce the same it knew that it couldn't, so it was just a little bit of like, I think, a little panning shot that went from like low angle to high angle, and it's like, oh, there he is, there's Tentacle Man, and like I think they were trying to like humanize him in this, right? And like make him empathetic.
That's the one thing I actually really do like about this movie. I do like. it kind of feels like a bit of, not really a betrayal of the previous movie, because there was slight hints of this like deeper character behind the like monster that was Davy Jones.
He plays the organ. He's an artistic musical man.
like you can sense that there is a bit of pain behind those evil eyes of his. At least that's how I feel it was depicted in the second movie. And then this one, they like really kind of they really go for broke with the whole humanizing him. They make him like not in a way that I really appreciate it in some aspects, with the whole like, making him a bitch to Beckett and all that.
I like that you were like lapdog, no bitch.
Yeah,
that's more accurate.
No. I mean, he is Beckett's bitch in this movie, honestly. But like I don't know. I appreciate when you can get a top, like a scary as fuck destructive villain and try to humanize him in a way that kind of makes sense. And in the way that they do it with this, I do appreciate it, and a lot of it I do enjoy. How he was once a good man. He was once a noble man that that fell in love with a sea goddess, and was tasked with bringing escorting the souls of the dead to the afterlife. And that's like, and then gets his heart broken, cuts out his heart, and eventually like he became corrupted, and that's what made him the way he is. I like that as a villain origin. I like that as like the story behind why he became the man who he is. But I think just some of the execution and some of the story beats as to like how they explain his whole, personality, character arc in this movie feels off. Like the whole Calypso stuff. I hate the whole Calypso shit. Apart from, the whole like her breaking his heart kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's all done through dialogue. They don't show any flashbacks or any of that kind of crap. I really appreciate that about Davy Jones's like backstory. They don't like show flashbacks. They don't show anything. They just kind of, they mention it in passing and all. There's that scene of him and Teodama Calypso in
on the cells?
In the cells, yeah. And I really like that scene. Like it shows that he was not always a heartless monster.
Yeah. I can see that. Like,
yeah.
And the way that he's shot there is like he seems a lot more vulnerable. Because he's like an emotional being instead of just like this big scary face.
Yeah.
But what is a bit annoying there is how you feel conflicted that, okay, so now we're getting this vulnerable side of him, then he no longer holds like any gravity in this. But I think then he's replaced with the other big baddie, who is the British guy,
good old Beckett, yeah. Anime villain Beckett, who like has
no depth.
He has no depth, which I do kind of like, mainly because I just find him fucking hilarious as a villain, just because he's so just evil. He's just evil over the top, but he doesn't have that. He doesn't have really any screen presence in this movie compared to like David Jones in the second movie, or even in this movie. While I like him purely for like how over the top evil he is, he has no, as a proper villain in terms of like character and depth, he is awful, terrible.
Yeah, and that's where like it feels wrong, this being the capstone to like the trilogy at this point, that the big baddie of the first three movies then has so little gravity, where the big baddie of the second movie, Dave Jones at this point, has so much gravity.
Yeah.
So then it's like it feels unequal. Like it doesn't feel right. And then that feels really unsatisfying and gross.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I wish they should have done actually is like keep the Beckett stuff, like keep the whole like Beckett, making Davy Jones his bitch and all that. But maybe instead of like having Beckett like and Davy Jones survive until the very end, and then both of them dying, they should have had Davy Jones maybe go like slowly kind of take back control of the crew, of like of his life kind of thing, like betray Beckett halfway through the film, like how there's that one scene where he kills like the Beckett's like right hand man, the really evil looking British man. Like he sticks all the tentacles in his face and nose and all that, that really brutal death. They should have had that be Beckett's. That should have been Beckett's death, and that should have been done maybe halfway through the movie. Have Davy Jones wild out, kill Beckett, have the fish crew take control of the Flying Dutchman again, and just have still humanize David Jones, but really have him go full beast mode. You know what I mean?
I could not agree more. It shows that Davy Jones is being pushed as well. That it's almost like him that would have given purpose and sort of use to this emotional vulnerability, is that he becomes broken and then he goes against his alliances that he has, or his responsibilities at this point, and then it becomes a lot more interesting. Where
literally
this movie is just really disinteresting.
It's very I will say I don't think I was ever bored during this movie, but not for all the good reasons. I was not bored, but I was confused, angry, annoyed, occasionally entertained. I still stand by that. I don't think this is an awful movie. There's a lot of good going for it, but yeah, it's something else, man. It's something else. I'll tell you that much.
If I had to watch this in a cinema, I would have gone to the bathroom far more than I would have needed to pee, just to have a break.
Yeah.
No, especially as a child, I think I would have hated this. I would have hated it.
As a kid, I definitely was very, because I loved the Pirates movies as a kid, but even as a kid, I was very. It would always feel like a chore to watch this movie sometimes for me.
I think I've always, even when I was young and like a 7 or 8 year old, I think that the thing that engaged me with media was the characters and getting a sense of character, and then I was engaged. If I didn't get that, if it was I would never like action movies for the sake of action. Never into that as a kid. Never into big grand epic set pieces if there's no character to get attached to. And I feel I now was trying to seek or dive into grabbing as much character as I possibly could out of it. I feel I wouldn't have done that as a kid, and I would have hated this. It would have been 3 hours of I need to leave. I just want to go home and play PS2.
Oh man, this is it's. I could just imagine kids watching this and just, because it's also just it's convoluted as fuck. There's just a lot of story. They just bring up a lot. Like I said earlier, they bring up a lot of new story beats in this film. Include they're trying to cap off story beats that were established in the previous film, but then they're introducing more story beats, more characters, the pirate lords, more pirate codes and all that, new locations, all this crap about World's End and how to get there and how to get out. It's and then you got the whole British, the whole Britishisms, British alliances and all that. The first two films, they were kind of convoluted as well. They had a lot of story beats, but they still, it felt coherent in a way. This film feels incoherent script wise. Dude, there's so much stuff happening in this movie, and it just makes no sense. A lot of it.
It's all just playing catch up, and I would have, when watching this movie let's say I saw it when I was 11, and that if I saw the second one when I was 10, I would have just forgotten everything that happened in the second one. So then I would have just been even more confused.
Oh my god,
This is difficult to follow, because of all the freaking story beats that are occurring everywhere.
Yeah, I know.
And we had a gap of 7 minutes between the second and the third one watching it.
I know, it's ridiculous.
We went to the bathroom, maybe had got some food ready, and then we watched the next one. Imagine having to wait 12 months with the attention span of a child. That is, you're basically going to see colours and explosions
that is
and funny looking pirate people.
That is one of the worst things, I think, because at World's End and Dead Man's Chest, it's a two-parter basically. It's one movie that was just split into two parts, which was very needless.
A 5.5 hour movie.
Yeah, literally. It feels imagine if something like Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows did something similar. How Deathly Hallows Part 1, they established these, some new characters, this new story, what's going on. And then Deathly Hallows Part 2, they just introduced a fuckload of new characters, new story beats, this new lore and all that. Imagine if Deathly, it still did it. The Deathly Hallows Part 2 still did that, but it knew that what it needed to focus on was capping off this series, capping off this story, these character stories, not introduce new fucking stories and characters and lore, man.
What I think
that's what Twilight that's what Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 2 did. It introduced new characters, new lore, vampires that can manipulate elements like airbending.
Ken, hold your passion for our Twilight marathon.
I'm sorry, I'm just fuck, man. That just made me remember that.
Hold your passion, hold it in.
There's fucking airbenders in that movie, man. Anyways, sorry, go on.
Bury it in your soul, and then let it burn until we get to that.
Oh man, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
The microphone was not liking those peaks.
Oh, I'm sure the fans won't like those peaks either.
Yeah, just screams about Twilight.
I'm sorry, man. I'm passionate about those movies, but okay.
That is fair.
I'm cool. All right. Okay. Pirates.
Whew. Okay, I completely agree with that.
You do get my point, though.
Oh, yes. There are even scenes in this that I don't understand how they resulted. Like, here's an example, is you know how they sail to the edge of the world?
Yeah.
And then they fall off.
Yeah. Man, they fell off.
How did they survive? I do not understand how they survived.
I
just don't
plot armor,
I don't get it.
It's plot armor.
Yeah. I do not understand. That's just like, yeah, they're dead. How are they going to get out of this? Oh, they don't get out of this, but they're still alive. So then what's the point of... So they can just die, and it doesn't fucking matter because of plot armor.
They really don't explain... Like, as much as they really want to cram all this new lore and, like, characters and all that into this movie, they really don't explain, how... they get to World's End. Like, yeah, they go off the waterfall, but then they're, like, washed up on a beach. It's like... I know that this is all mystical, magical, supernatural shit, you know, it's like, it doesn't need to all be scientifically explained. But can you at least just explain, like, how you go down a waterfall and then you're washing up on a beach? Like, how does that work?
Did they end up at Davy Jones's locker?
They did. Yeah, the whole... That stupid fucking beach. That's Davy Jones' locker. It's all desert and beach, which is... That's not...
Okay, I think that I sort of understand it now, but I don't like it.
It doesn't... Yeah, it's shit.
Especially as a child, I would not have been able to understand what the
I did not understand this as a kid. As a kid, I always hated that. I always hated that sequence. When I first watched the movie, and I was like, this is David Jones' locker? What the fuck is this, man?
Would have felt like just so sort of, like, not respected, because... Yeah, like, not respected by the filmmakers. It feels like in like showing you clearly what is happening.
Feels like the filmmakers are kind of talking down you in a little bit with like how like abstract, like they're trying to like make the whole David Jones locker very an abstract concept, an abstract set piece kind of, with like the crabs and the ship being taken by the crabs, and then all that crap, and it's like just it's abstract for abstract's sake, and it just doesn't work for me. I hate when movies try to be abstract or like very avant-garde and artsy without any kind of without any actual real substance behind it, or something that like I can latch onto. Like there's nothing for me to latch onto with this whole sequence. Like, what am I supposed to latch onto? These stupid fucking crabs? The multiple jacks?
Yeah, I got very emotionally connected to those crabs.
What am I supposed to get from this, man? Like, I don't get it. Like,
Speaking of not getting anything from something that should have given you something, the off-screen Kraken death.
Oh my god!
The Kraken, one of the I think the a excellent like ammo for a beautiful set piece.
Yeah.
That is used in the second one, and it just holds so much gravity, is so impactful, is so visually stimulating.
It's scary.
Like, it's scary. It really like plays on the fear of the ocean and what could be there.
And
it doesn't show you
megalophobia with this like giant leviathan beast.
It doesn't show you the whole thing. Like,
I know.
Like, what's so impactful about that is that it could be as big as we imagine it to be, because we can't see the whole thing.
And then they just show the fucking rotting corpse of it after
and then
they leave the
it's
locker.
dead.
It's like, oh my god.
Did it explain what it was that killed it?
I think, from what I remember, during the first Davy Jones scene, when like him and Beckett are talking, Beckett's like, you need to calm down. I'm pulling the leash back on you. Or need I remind you what happened to your pets? Like, I think they got Davy Jones to kill the Kraken. I don't know why, because if Davy Jones can control the Kraken, why kill it? Actually, no. I think I know why, because I think they thought that, like, you know, Davy Jones would use the Kraken to, like, you know, kill Beckett and crew. But it still doesn't work for me, because I don't know, such a big, scary
unsatisfying.
beat. Yeah, exactly. And this whole, like, big, scary monster that was built up like crazy in the second movie deserved to go out on a high note. You know what I mean? Not just a shitty off-screen death. That, you know how I said earlier that, like, Davy Jones should have went ham and killed, like, Beckett in the second act?
Yep.
Use the Kraken.
Yes.
Like maybe have like Davy Jones actually like maybe lie to Beckett and say that he killed it.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then and then like have this epic set piece with like Davy Jones fucking Beckett and then like the Kraken decimating the crew and maybe like have like and then if you still want to keep the British soldiers, have them surrender to Davy Jones, have them like serve under him out of fear that he'll set the Kraken on them.
Oh, what's so good about that is that like it would have been unexpected.
Oh,
it would have been going against it would have been going against like what was what am I trying to say? Would have been going against
what was like set up at the start with like Beckett being like the higher up.
Yeah, and then also it would have added so much more intensity to Davy Jones by being like, okay, he's the same man as he was in the first one, but now he's pissed.
Yeah.
Now he has something to prove.
He
has something really to prove now because he was like put in such a low place, but then he's like, actually, you know, I can go above like this power. I am powerful, and then there's so much potential there.
Oh, it's ridiculous. But yeah.
Then it also would have. Sorry.
No, go on.
Also, would have been so like thematically satisfying with like the build up of a trilogy. Is that like his like it would have. Like been like the last one would have had something to lead up to and his power being gained and driven up, and then also like what I could think of there is that maybe like how could possibly Jack and his crew kill him, like defeat them if they couldn't defeat them in the last one. But now also during this film they were building their army up more and more where it would be so much make so much sense.
I know it's ridiculous. Like rest in peace Beastie.
There's a lot of just random scenes in this that just feel really dumb. Like,
you want to give an example?
Like the giantess scene.
Oh my! I hate everything to do with the whole Calypso shit. Man.
It just was like, what is happening? Why? It was like that they just wanted to. They had an extra 10 mil.
Yeah, and someone had a giantess fetish, so they were like, yeah, fuck it, put it in.
Yeah.
Go on. Like the whole Calypso thing I never enjoyed. Like it feels like it kind of comes out of nowhere. Like a lot of the story beats in this movie, a lot of like the lore, and it's like they try to make it this big mystery. Who is Calypso? What is Calypso? And I think like the first scene that they kind of bring up the whole idea of Calypso and all that, like Tia Dalma's talking to the two comedic relief characters about Calypso, and it's like, yep, it's her. She's talking about like the story of Calypso and how she loved Davy Jones, and it's like, yeah, it's her. Like stop trying to like, and they still try to build this mystery and all that. They kind of they do lean into like, it is her, but we're not going to tell you this. But it's like they don't even try to conceal the identity of her. The second Tia Dalma starts talking about Calypso, it's like, yeah, it's her. Stop trying to build up this mystery. And it's like, I don't know. It's just every time they would name drop Calypso and like it's like, this grand sea goddess. It's like, I don't care really, to be honest. I never heard of this sea goddess before. Why can't, I don't know, if you want to bring in sea gods and all that, that's cool, but like bring in someone that we know, like Poseidon or something like that. Fucking Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy I'll even take. Like, come on, dude.
And with all of these new plot points and new things building up towards the climax, all sense of purpose, I think, is gone.
Yeah.
Because there's too much happening. So during this fight, I'm there thinking, what are we actually fighting for?
Yeah. Wait, which fight are you talking about? The final fight?
The final fight.
Okay, yeah.
I sort of just feel like I don't care. Of course I want, like, you know, Captain Jack Sparrow and co to win because they're the people on the front cover, but it's just I don't care anymore.
Yeah,
and I know that they're going to win anyway because of plot armor.
Yeah, legitimately.
So then I have there are no stakes, and I'm just waiting for it to end.
It's because like it's just the whole reason for their whole fun fight is just we're fighting to save the pirate world. It's like, I don't care. Like, this is not what I don't want to watch, I don't want to watch the Revolutionary War, except instead of Americans fighting the British, it's just pirates fighting the British. And it's like, and also it's like, who cares? Because we know the pirates will lose. Like, not in this, but, the age of piracy died out. So it's like, fuck this, man.
American dream. The pirates still exist. Well, the pirates do still exist. This whole in a different form.
This whole movie's just an allegory for the Revolutionary War.
Yes, yeah.
Oh my god, dude.
Don't get me wrong. There is spectacle. There is spectacle at this big battle. Like, you can see where those millions of dollars went.
It is a visually stimulating battle. It is a really cool battle. These two grand ships fighting over a whirlpool, and it's raining and storming. It's cool. It's like, as a kid, I went wild for that shit. But as an adult, it's like, yeah, it's cool, but it's like kind of lacks it. What am I trying to say? It lacks what's the word? Help me out here.
Gravitas?
I guess you could say that. Yeah, it lacks gravitas. It
lacks soul.
It feels soulless in a way.
Yeah.
Which breaks my heart, because I used to love that third act as a kid. But it lacks the soul, the heart that the first two movies third acts had. You know what I mean?
Feels completely empty. I think
the first movie was this epic swashbuckling battle between, Barbossa and Jack and all that. Like, oh, look how fun this is. And then the second one was very horrific, very scary, very, it felt like it had weight.
Yeah.
This one is just yeah, looks cool, but whatever.
yeah, no, that's fair.
It wants to have weight, but it didn't earn it.
I feel that even, in this scene, in this climax, following Jack, I'm just thinking that I don't really think that Jack serves that much of a purpose in this movie.
He's just kind of there.
I made the comparison in the last podcast, I think, for Jack. The Jack is sort of like the squirrel in Ice Age.
Yeah.
And I think that he feels most like that in this film.
Yeah.
That I feel like he doesn't interact too much directly with they could have done everything without him there.
Yeah.
And it's sort of proved to be that half the movie occurs without him on that plane of reality.
Yeah.
So then he comes back and he adds color to the whole thing.
Yeah, he adds that Johnny Depp charm and all that, which he's still got that charm in this movie, but it definitely feels lacking compared to the first two, because it feels more oversaturated at this point. So it's like he's not as witty or as exciting as he was in the previous two movies. He's still good, but yeah, he kind of just feels like they just put him there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, completely. Yeah. And then let's talk about the Will and the Elizabeth of this whole thing.
we're 49 minutes in and we haven't talked about the two main characters of this series.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Jack that much either, but it's alright because there's not much to say.
There's not much character in this movie.
Yeah, even though I think that this feels like a Will and Elizabeth movie.
Yeah.
In the same way that Scream 3 felt like a Gale and Dewey movie.
Yes!
This feels like Elizabeth and Will movie.
Yeah.
But with it's the background that you care about, though. It's the pirate's world that you care about.
No one cares about the whole Will and Elizabeth thing. Look, I will say I do appreciate, similar to I think I said this in the second episode of Pirates, that I appreciate that they gave Elizabeth a lot more dimension of having her kind of be more independent, more independent.
She has more agency. That's what I liked about her in the second one.
And in this one, it's they're trying to they're having her fully embrace the pirate's lifestyle and all that. This pirate life that she's been whisked away into, and having her become the new pirate lord after Sao Fang dies.
But then that feels so unearned. And also it
really does. It really does.
Especially too, what is so satisfying, or at least engaging about her character having agency in the second one is that it's everything that she's getting out of her own doing.
Yeah.
Out of her own making it happen.
Especially because
in this she becomes the captain because some dude gives it to her on his deathbed.
It feels really just unsatisfying, honestly. And it's because in the second movie when she's earning her place in the pirate world and building herself up, she's building herself up because, like, you know, at the opening of that movie, her wedding day is ruined. She's taken away from her husband-to-be. And, you know, she may never see her father again after she leaves Port Royal.
Yeah.
And it's like... So then when you see her, like, moving up in the world in the second movie, you know, building more confidence with herself and becoming more capable, it's exciting to see. And it's like, you're like, yes, you go, girl. And then this one, it's just like, yeah, she's just, they made her kind of a Mary Sue in this movie, honestly.
Yes, yeah,
it's
completely.
It's given to her. All this power, all this agency is given to her, but without any of the, trials and tribulations. Like, yeah, sure, you know, her and Will have tension in this movie because of the god-awful misunderstanding at the end of the second movie.
Yeah.
And
which is such a Dale and Gooey thing.
I know.
Fucking Dale and Gooey.
Gale
and Dewey thing. I'm just so passionate. I'm getting my letters mixed up.
You know what the worst part is about, like, the whole, like, Will and Elizabeth tension and all that is because, like, you know, like, it's got to be, like, maybe a couple weeks or maybe a month or two in between the 2 and 3 Pirates movies.
Yeah.
And they still have not talked about this whole misunderstanding thing. Like Elizabeth never told. Elizabeth maybe should have told Will about why she made out with Jack. You know, about how, like, she left him for dead because, you know, they would have all died. You know.
Yes.
Like that would have. You know, you could still have if you want the tension between them two, have it. You know, with Will being like, how could you do this, Elizabeth? How could you leave Jack for dead? And then, you know, like, and then have Elizabeth coming to terms with, like, this how morally grey she has become when, you know, she was a prim and proper, you know, countess's daughter in the first movie, you know what I mean?
Her character arc is awful in this.
It's all over the place.
It should have been great because her character arc in the second one is great.
It was really good, especially because, like, you know, we don't really give a shit about Will and Elizabeth in the first movie. You know, they're just, like, cookie-cutter characters. Yeah. In the second one, you know, Elizabeth especially, they really, like, you know, try to, like, actually do something with her, which is appreciated. And then this one, it just falls flat, man. Like, they do have her suffer in this movie by having her, you know, see her dead dad in the afterlife. And, you know, it's an okay scene, but it's like... I don't know. It just doesn't feel earned for me, man.
And don't you love the romantic climax in this? Getting married during the final battle.
It's so Disney Channel, man.
It feels so Disney Channel.
And look,
saying their vows between, like, cutting the throats of pirate.
Oh my god! Look, the one saving grace I will say is Jeffrey Rush's performance during that scene. Him like conducting the marriage ceremony. That's a lot of fun to watch. Whenever it will cut back to him, that was so much fun. Like, it's exhilarating. But then when you cut back, when you think about, like, what is, like, the context behind the scene, like yes, Jeffrey Rush is very exhilarating, there's some cool action, but why is this happening? But, like, why is he doing this? Because he's marrying these two people, and then whenever they cut back to them fighting and, like, this, like, swelling orchestral romantic music, it's just like, it just feels so cringe.
It does feel it feels very High School Musical, like, just like they're in the middle of their choreography, fucking getting married and having their romantic climax,
and then the kiss scene with, like, just the camera panning around them with all the action. Oh my god, it's terrible. It's awful. I get this is Disney, but dude, you could do better, Disney. Come on.
I'm not demanding realism from this Pirates franchise where a half man, half freaking octopus is the main villain, but, like, a little bit of believability.
I know.
Is what I want.
And look, if you want to do, like, a big romantic moment, don't do it in such a cliche and, like, kid friendly, like, a very, like, kiddie pandering way, I guess. You know what I mean?
I could almost hear the Gale and Dewey theme music playing between every interaction between them, especially this final scene.
Oh my god! I can't let's not downgrade Dewey and Gale, man. All right, their story is one that we connect with. Man.
Yes,
it's one that we've followed for 5 movies. It's ridiculous. It's redonkulous, honestly.
And I feel like there's not much to talk about with Will here, right? Like, Will just exists.
all they really do with Will in this is they continue his whole character arc throughout that they established in the second movie, where all he wants to do, literally his whole character in this movie, is just, I'm going to free my father.
Yeah.
I must betray Jack and lie to Elizabeth to free my father. And it's like they don't really do anything.
That was a more convincing performance than Orlando Bloom right there.
I love you, Orlando Bloom, man. You terrible, terrible actor, you.
Sorry, interrupted.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's all right. How dare you interrupt with the Orlando Bloom slander, you piece of shit. No, but yeah, they really they don't do much in terms of, like, develop Will's character. All they do is just, they have him double-cross Jack and the gang, have tension with Elizabeth, and they have him kind of be more of a jackass in this movie, kind of. Like, there's the scene where, like, he is picked up by Beckett and all that, and he's in the room having, like, tea, and then David Jones just comes in and is like, "What is this? You stole my key, Will Turner."
See, that could have been his breaking point.
Honestly, they should have done something like that. And then they have, like, Will, like, just being, like, smart ass to David Jones, and it's just like, just stop. Like, you're not cool. Don't try to be like a snarky badass, like snarky jackass like Jack Sparrow is, man. You're not Jack Sparrow, Orlando Bloom. Just stop, please. I don't know, it's just like that. Like, he's just rubbed me the wrong way in this movie, man. Yeah.
I just think that so capping off this is like a trilogy. There doesn't feel like that there's much character development. As like a 3-film arc, I don't believe. I don't
for Will or for everyone?
For everyone. I feel.
Fair.
I think that their situations change, but their being does not.
Yeah, no, not really.
I feel that the greatest, in this trilogy so far, the greatest arc that I can think of is maybe Jack Sparrow in the first film. That is it.
Yeah.
Where for an overall 3-film arc, not much. Maybe even the person that probably has the best 3-film arc is Barbossa.
Yeah.
Probably. But just showing like a bit of his like range and like his capacity for motion, but maybe he doesn't change too much, but I feel like so little of these characters actually change. Their situations do, but them not.
Barbossa's a different character at the end of the third movie than he was at the start of the first movie, I feel, when everyone else kind of feels the same. They try to like switch up some status quos and all that with these characters. You have like I remember they try to do with Jack, having him be kind of conflicted as to like, should I be the one to kill Davy Jones so that way I can live forever and rule the 7 seas and all that. And then they have like a scene of when Will gets killed, they have kind of Jack struggling, like, do I do the deed, or do I have Will do the deed to save his life and all that? And that's like I feel they were trying to like have like have Jack be more morally good in that scenario, but it just, I don't know. I feel like they needed to do more in terms of if you wanted to develop Jack as a more good person than he was in like the other 2 movies. They needed to establish more. They needed to do more with the whole like more like what's it called? Like he's
a moral quandary.
Moral quandary, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That'll
do.
He's hang on. I had a word in my head that was really good. Not confusion. Not oh fuck it, I forgot.
Okay, that's okay. Would you like us to cut that?
No, it's okay, it's alright. We're gonna keep this raw and unfiltered, Rhys.
Okay. I think that Gore Verbinski's filmography, who is the director of this film, peaks at Rango and Mouse Hunt.
Did he direct Mouse Hunt?
He directed Mouse Hunt, yes.
Peaked with Rango. Rango is a fucking great movie, man. Rango is a banger. I hated that movie as a kid, though. My God.
Man, there's so much style in Rango. It's insane.
So good. I love it. I love just how ugly and dirty and like color and like how it goes against a lot of like the tropes and conventions of kids movies, of like kids animated films. It's weird, it's ugly, it's psychedelic.
You get a real sense of world in that, and I like that, and it feels like a really original world.
Yeah,
I love that.
And like also it's a western, and like, you know, not a lot of kids like westerns aimed at kids, you know what I mean? And it's
very
violent
right,
as fuck as well. Also, it's you got a reunion bit with Jack Sparrow and Davy Jones as you know, Johnny Depp is Rango, and Bill Nighy, who plays Davy Jones, plays Rattlesnake Jake in that movie.
That is a very, very good point.
And it's so fucking cool. Like
Gore Verbinski also did A Cure for Wellness.
I heard about that movie. I heard like people hated that movie.
I think it's okay.
I haven't seen it. I wouldn't mind watching it.
What a diverse filmography that this man has.
He also did The Ring as well.
He did.
That was one of his big hits, like pre-Pirates.
Oh my god! And I'm on a bit of a Nick Cage fiasco at the moment. He also did The Weatherman with Nick Cage.
What the hell's The Weatherman?
The Weatherman. It's this Nick Cage film.
The Weatherman. What the? I don't know why that poster looked funny to me.
It's just seeing Nick Cage's face. That's all that I need to be entertained.
They should have got Nicolas Cage in the Pirates.
We watched Kane and I saw on Thursday night.
Is everything all good with the
yeah,
system?
that's
okay, still recording.
Yeah. Kane and I saw on Thursday night Vampire's Kiss at the cinemas, and it was a great time.
It was my first time ever watching it in full. Like, I'd only watched the first half years ago, and it is an experience, man. Hey, you know, that's not a bad Halloween costume to do. A nice, cheap, easy one. Just get the suit.
God, yes.
Have you have your hair look all disgusting and like, you know, like weird.
Like a slick it back.
Slick it back and then kind of mess it up to have him, and then smear blood all over his face and then just get the fake fangs.
That is a very good idea,
dude. If I wasn't gonna,
then just the whole night you have to do his weird voice.
Like I was really horny. You know, when I saw the bats. I was really horny when I saw the bats, you know?
Yeah. That is a very fun idea.
I forgot that he spoke. I forgot that that's how his voice was in the movie.
I love that active decision.
Oh, it's so stupid. Such a stupid movie. I love it. I had so much fun watching it, man. And then we also watched Wild at Heart, which was my first foray into proper David Lynch territory.
What an interesting place to start.
Well, no, because I had only seen The Elephant Man previous, and The Elephant Man feels a lot more like stripped back in terms of like still has this from what I remember, it was still weird and had like a very like David Lynch touch to it. But this was scary, man. This movie.
I think that with The Elephant Man, it feels like he's more taking homage though to
he's paying respects to the actual person that the movie was based on.
Oh well,
what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say like the actual filmmaking style of The Elephant Man is like paying homage to a more like sort of classical way of filmmaking.
Yeah, true.
I believe.
Fair
so
enough,
then that's where he like strips away his more personal style from it.
I guess it could. I guess it could be like for both reasons. Yeah.
Because like it's from the 80s, correct? It's
1980. No, 1980. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, but it's like it doesn't look like
no. It looks like it's like the era of like sideshow freaks and all, like the movie Freaks, for example.
Yeah.
It feels like, you know, made during that era of like the sideshow attractions, like step right up, look at the bearded lady, kind of shit. You know?
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one more thing that I would like to say about because I'm done talking about this movie. I am
okay.
Are you done talking about the movie specifically?
Well, can I ask what did you think about like the whole like Will dying and then becoming the new captain of the Flying Dutchman? What did you think of that?
Oh, I just don't really care. He was dead to me anyway.
I appreciate that they I don't know. I appreciate that they didn't just have him come off like scot-free and like have him live happily ever after with Elizabeth. I did kind of like that they have him, you know, they still love each other, but he must go for his people need him. The boys need him. 10 years at sea with the boys.
My people need me.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Like, I don't know. I appreciate that they, you know, they had them together, but they kind of felt bittersweet in a way. Not a good ending, but, you know, it was, like, different, I guess. But, you know, bittersweet isn't always great. I mean, fucking people said that the Game of Thrones ending was going to be bittersweet, and look what the fuck happened there. Yeah, it was bittersweet. Take out the sweet, and just leave me being bitter. But anyways, that's my thoughts.
I don't think I ever have to watch this movie ever again. I think that I will die a happy man never having seen this.
Yeah, you reckon?
Yeah.
I reckon I could probably go without watching this, but, you know, if it's on, or if a mate wants to, if, like, say, like, Lawrence or something wants to watch it, then, you know, I'm not going to protest, but I don't think I'll ever, like, watch it on my own.
Okay.
For a long time, at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went on a little bit of a YouTube rabbit hole last night, and in my discovery, I found something very interesting to do with this film. Well, I found this very interesting.
I thought you were going to start talking about, like, how you were going to watch the movie Threads.
Oh, no. Not that. So last night, I found a video that spoke about the 3 threequels of May 2007.
Okay.
So, in this 1 month of May 2007, as you mentioned before, Spider-Man 3, this, the third Pirates of the Caribbean, and Shrek 3 came out all in the same month.
Ew! Shrek the Third came out that year?
And they all did pretty bad, like, as in critically, did very badly compared to the other films.
Yeah.
Which all of them had classic first one, a second one that expanded well on the universe,
and a lot of people better. I mean, actually, not so much with Pirates, but like I kind of consider it.
I consider it better.
I consider it on the same level,
or like a strong follow up, and then a third one that just shit the bed.
Yeah, shit the bed. Although I will never accept any Spider-Man 3 slander. Spider-Man 3, great movie. I love it, unironically.
But a convoluted mess of a film,
no, it is a shit show, but it's my shit show. Shrek the Third can go fuck itself. Shrek the Third, I hate with every fibre of my being. Fuck that movie. It's worse than At World's End. I'm not joking, because like, I'm miserable. I get miserable last time I watched Shrek the Third. I watched it just so I could hear Justin Timberlake's voice. Fucking hated it.
Okay.
Fuck this movie. I hated it. I hated it as a kid. I hate it now.
When Shrek 5 comes out, I think should do a tribute marathon of that.
I just thinking about Shrek the Third, man, pisses me off.
But then even extending, if you look just to the whole year instead of just May, there was also Rush Hour 3, which you mentioned before, was 2007.
God, what the fuck?
The third Resident Evil movie, the third Bourne movie, Ocean's 13. What was it about 2007?
Did the third Mummy movie come out that year as well?
Oh my god, you could be right. I feel like 2008.
Yeah,
I'm picturing.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm picturing 2000. Yeah, 2008.
Okay.
I saw that in theaters with my dad. Loved it.
I think I only watched that one. I have not seen the other Mummy movies. I watched a bit of Tim and the Dragon Emperor. And I did not like this. I did not like that movie as a kid. It scared me.
It has 12% on Rotten Tomatoes. Oh my god. But anyway, a lot of threes in 2007.
2007 something was in the air that year.
Yeah, the May of threequels, and I just want to leave us on that little weird sort of phenomenon. Anyway, that I think potentially triggered something in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Where at the time it would have been this sort of fascinating time where, you know, things are the entertainment industry are building up with how its ability to get movies to come out in such quick succession.
Yeah.
CGI is becoming a lot more commonplace and like affordable
and better developed and all that. Like, it doesn't feel as dated a lot of the time.
So it's a time. So it's a time where these big franchises can go into doing like a third one not too far since the previous one.
Yeah.
And
back to back kind of thing, yeah.
And that would have been a very exciting time for the entertainment industry, I believe.
Yeah.
It would have been, especially as a kid, would have been just phenomenal, because all of these three would have been films that, you know, are accessible to a family audience.
Definitely.
Where now it's almost commonplace that everything is a part of some other cinematic universe.
There's a big film coming out almost every week.
Yes, basically. Yeah, exactly. Where I like to think back on this time that would have been extremely exciting, that is now just sort of normalized and accepted.
Yeah.
So that's probably my favorite thing about this movie. Something that I didn't experience, but just picturing being at that time, the hype of the threequel in 2007.
What a time to be alive and like a fan of like big budget movies. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Crazy. That's actually, I never thought about that. Thank you for like enlightening me on that, because like I never really like properly thought about that. Like I thought about like, you know, like big films and all that, but blah 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 blah. You get what I mean?
Well, thank you, YouTube Rabbit Hole, for giving me the thing to enjoy the most out of this film. I will never see you again at World's End, but we will see you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next week from Stranger Tides. Yay.
And don't forget to check out our Facebook page at MarathonMeOfficial, all one word, and our Instagram, MarathonMe_official, to keep up to date on the podcast. And hey, if you want to get into contact with us, email us at marathonmepodc, yes, the letter C, @gmail.com. Like podcast without the ask.